Hey, I'm Justin Smith, and this is an update of the Turo business that I have going with the 2016 Ford Mustang. I think the main motivating factor of doing this kind of side hustle, side business thing is you hear a lot of times people say, I wish my job would pay me more, I wish I would get a raise. I think another mindset to have with that is what if I find something to increase my income without having to ask my boss for it or their boss's boss for it or however your company works? It's a way to give yourself a raise, is how I'm viewing this. And luckily, I'll do some screen sharing here in a second, but luckily it's doing really well as a business. Um, it's projected to make way more than the expenses could ever be, and that's with the insurance being the full coverage amount, which if I were to shift that down a little bit, I would make a little bit more income versus Turo taking some of it as that full 100% protection. But I think for peace of mind purposes, despite me losing a little bit of revenue off the top, I do actually prefer having that peace of mind because number one fear of Turo hosts is their renters damaging the car or some sort of claim having to be filed. The Mustang's been booked now 3 times, and the first 2 bookings both had damage on it. So I'll share a little bit about that claims process with with this video today too. Luckily, Turo covered 100% of the damage. The Mustang was returned in perfect condition back from the shop, and Turo was able to forward me the money to pay the shop for all fees and expenses, and even gave me an estimated dollar amount for any lost rental days that the car was unavailable because it was in the shop. So you hear all the time on social media or internet forums people, Turo hosts, complaining about the claims process, or it didn't work out for them, or they didn't get the money they were thinking, or Turo never got a hold of them. From the way that my claims process went, my assumption would be that any claims process, when done correctly, Turo will take care of. They're very clear with how they describe what you need to do with your before photos before the trip starts, how the check-in process needs to go, and if there's a claim, how any photos need to be taken. Like, for example, I had one renter park the Mustang in a parking lot, and it seemed like there was just a hole in the door or something, like right below the passenger mirror, where it seemed like somebody had stabbed the door with a screwdriver. I know LA has a homeless issue. Hopefully, homeless people aren't stabbing it. Who knows who would stab it? Kind of one of those random weird things. Who knows what happened, because the renter said they had no idea when it happened or which location it was even parked at where the damage happened, because again, it was on the passenger side. Anyways, for that particular small damage, Turo wants you to take an after picture of the damage shot with a ruler next to it so they can see what kind of like size they're working with. They file this into a computer system that they use that estimates what the repair cost is going to be. They send you that amount of money right away, no questions asked. And then as the shop is repairing things, if the amount is higher, then the repair shop just sends them a supplemental saying, hey, it was a little bit more than you guys were expecting. Here's why. Here's the parts that we're using. Here's the labor. Very detailed and organized process from Turo. I'm very happy with the process. Filing a claim from a Turo host perspective is definitely something that could keep you up at night. Something that you could definitely be worried about. But to see how well they handled the claims process was really a good sign of any, problems going forward. It seems like they're going to take care of it if I do my side of the bargain. I don't think if I, as a Turo host, just ask them for money, they would obviously not give it to me. There's a process to follow, and by making sure that you cross your T's and dot your I's, it seems like this is a company that will take care of you. I bought the car back in May. It's now June 3rd, 2021, and it's earned $491 so far. And in the month of June, it's projected to earn a little bit under $800. I consider my carrying costs for the Mustang to be around $500 a month, with the car payment being around $350. I put $1,000 down to purchase the car, and then got a loan from a local credit union and pay them obviously the monthly amount. And then the insurance I thought was pretty high, but I'm right now paying $150 a month for insurance. So if you consider the car payment and the insurance, then to me my all-in amount every month is $500. So even with the full protection plan and taking into consideration my car payment and my insurance, for the car to have a projected rental income of $800 in June, I think is great. It's going to cash flow $800. In a way, I'm building equity into the Mustang. It's potentially a car I will keep for a very long time. In a way, I, for a couple days out of the month, get to drive a Mustang around for free, which is not a bad thing. And then on top of it, they throw in the extra $300 there. So all in all, a very good, profitable program so far. I literally told all of my coworkers today to try it out if they want to buy an extra car, if they have an extra car lying around, to literally post it on the platform. It's kind of a no-brainer for me because I like cars. I think people should follow businesses that they have some sort of passion in. I don't want to like twist people's arms that aren't like car people and like make them go through the work. The amount of work involved is less passive than I wanted it to be, but maybe as I continue to practice, it'll feel a little bit better. I had my first LAX drop off for this third renter that currently has the car still. We'll be returning on Saturday, coming up in 2 days. And the whole drive it down to LAX, park it at a parking garage, organize the QR code and the window lockbox for the renter to make sure they could get out and get the car, and then take the flyaway bus up back to where I live. That kind of felt like a journey. So that part of it's a little bit less passive. The good news, though, is on the Turo app, hosts can actually charge renters a delivery fee. So, for example, down to LAX, I have the delivery fee set to $120, which may seem like a lot if you think of a one-trip destination, but I have to go pick up the car too. So when you take into consideration the amount of time that it takes and getting transportation there and kind of organizing all of that with the delivery, it seems like a good deal. It seems like something that benefits the renters too, because they don't have to deal with kind of the large car rental companies. They know exactly which car is waiting for them. They literally punch in a code on the window. They have the key ready to go. So there's a lot of benefits for the renter, I think, to have the car delivered down to LAX, especially because that airport, if not the world, the nation, one of the busiest. So definitely a lot of demand there. I usually have people come pick it up at the neighborhood street, like by my house, and that hasn't been a problem. But I will continue to track this progress, but it's very inspiring so far to stick with it, because back in May when I bought the car with the plans to put it on Turo, I had seen YouTubers talk about it and bring up the positives and the negatives. And with any other new thing, there's kind of like a leap of faith feeling that happens. And luckily, a month into it, seems like the program's going really well. Seems like the car is very profitable. So I definitely am excited to share the good news with people about how it's going, and encourage people to take a closer look at Turo hosting if it is something that they've been thinking. All right, so this is the screen recording as promised. I wanted to show a little bit about how the Turo app works from the host perspective. You can see along the bottom row the host button, the car looking thing. So if you click on that, you'll actually see, like, for example, some people list like a fleet of vehicles. I just have the one, just the Mustang. Along the top, you'll see Turo Go, performance, reviews, earnings. The earnings part for me is pretty exciting because you can see they break it down month by month. Like, for example, in May 2021, the Mustang earned $491. Luckily, my car payment isn't due until July 29th. So this was all just kind of gravy besides the $150 of insurance and some like accessories like a car charger and mats and whatnot. The projected earnings for June is $780. And then projected earnings in July already, as of June 3rd, is already $520. It's pretty cool. It's already collecting bookings in August. Because of the popularity of the car and like how often it's booked, I did decide to raise the price a little bit. Like you'll see here in June, it literally has like a couple days available from like the 6th to the 9th, and then one day on the 22nd is all. So with that kind of supply and demand issue like we learned about in school, you want to take a look at pricing, where it has an algorithm to use the price. They recommended $60 a night as the minimum. And I did that for a while, and because it was so booked, I decided to just bump it up to the 65 there as the minimum, just to see if that does start to increase revenue a little bit above that $800 projection for June. And you'll see that the pricing's already reflecting that, where like, for example, on June 6th, it's listed as $70. In July, I did a custom price for the July 4th holiday, a little bit higher. But you see a month out or so, all of the prices are a little bit less, where you have basically $65 a night the majority of the week. With that being said, I think it's important to keep in mind that this needs to be some sort of a pricing system that attracts renters, but not so high that it doesn't attract any renters. I did get some trip ratings as well. Where is that? Yeah. So I got some ratings. I got a rating from a renter that unfortunately rented it a 2 out of 5. And why this is important is because Turo hosts, to get like Superhost status and have your car listed higher in the options, you have to get a lot of 5-star ratings. And it seemed like, despite my best efforts, this particular renter was just not a fan of Turo and like how it works, which is kind of unfortunate. This next renter, Andrew, I had a great time renting with him and hosting him. He drove the car down to Palm Springs, which was awesome. I basically met him at the airport for pickup, which is maybe why I got such a good rating from him. I only have 2 ratings so far, so hopefully as people continue to rip the car, they'll rent it highly, hopefully. If you guys are in the LA area, look up and see if the Mustang's available. We'd love to rent to you guys and hopefully keep getting these good responses. Hopefully get some more 5-star ratings, complete some more trips. But yeah, I'm only a month into this, so obviously I'm learning, but it seems to be going well so far. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching.